Welcome back, everybody, to yet another show here on the Oshay Vlogcast channel. I am your host, Oshay Duke Jackson. I do apologize for being late. The white man, he held me back, as you know. And guys, we have a hell of a show. We had as upwards of 60 something people that were holding for the show to start. But unfortunately, I was a little bit late. But for those of you, and we do have some super chats that were already coming out. I'll shout you out in a minute. Come in and like the video. We have 27 dislikes. Fuck you, whoever disliked. You smell like shit. All right. And for those who like the video, thank you so much. For those of you restreaming, appreciate you for coming in, watching the video. Today we have a very special guest in our prime time hour. You guys know this is typically the time of the Brother Pill, but there is no more Brother Pill on Wednesdays, only Tuesdays and Thursdays now. And I have the very lovely Irene Yvette. And this is actually a topic that was related to the last show that we did, which is women have lower body counts than men. And body count means, if you're not stupid, that they have lower or less sexual partners than men do. So without further ado, I'll let Irene introduce herself. Irene, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, Irene, the last show that we did, over 12,000 views. You got a lot of people talking in Black YouTube. Kind of talk about, before we kind of get into the show, I always ask people that come onto the show, what brought you into the YouTube space, in particular the Black YouTube space?
Well, it was actually, what brought me onto YouTube was actually a Black couple. I think one of them is mixed, the wife is mixed, the husband is Black. And issues they were having with their baby. So that's what brought me to YouTube, because I was like, I have to speak on this particular thing. And then I guess I ended up in the Black part of YouTube because I'm Black. And so a lot of those issues resonated with me. I checked out your channel and you reached out to me. And that was like my first introduction into like the wider part of the Black YouTube community.
All right. Irene, let's talk about this topic. You seem to be able to stir the pot when you come on to people's platforms. You're, I guess you're somewhat scathing in some of the things that you say, but it doesn't really, I mean, people may take some things out of context, but we were talking about sexual partners, and you're talking about why Black men and Black people in general need to stay virgins until they're married. And then somehow we got onto the discussion, and you believe that women actually have lower body counts than men. Is that how you feel?
Yes, I do. In fact, and I researched this, so now I know I'm right. I was just going on instinct before. Not only do women overall have lower body counts than men, Black women are some of the least promiscuous women. So your women are the most virtuous of the women as well.
Irene, let me make sure I heard that correctly. I want to write that down. Not only do women have the lowest body counts, you're saying that Black women
are some of the least promiscuous.
Some of the least promiscuous women. Okay. The chat's going crazy right now. As you said that, Irene, this is breaking news to me. Can you please tell me what other races of women that are less promiscuous in general in American society?
Sure. Let me just check so that I don't lie. So of women, looking at some graphs I pulled from a study.
Okay.
White women are more promiscuous than Black women. Black women and Hispanic women are equally promiscuous. However, in some cases, Black women are even less promiscuous. In fact, single Black women and Hispanic and single white women have about the same number of partners. Hispanic women are slightly lower when they have no partners, right? For one partner, Black women lead. Over 50% of Black women in the past 12 months, for example, have slept with only one man. Two partners, Black women are the least promiscuous. Hispanic and white women are more likely to have in the past year slept with two men. For three, having slept with three men in the past year, or four or more men in the past year, Black women are the least likely to have done so, with under 10% of Black women having slept with more than 3 or 4 men in the past year.
Can you read that? I'm sorry, it was I'm a little dumb. Can you read that the last part again?
If you need to.
Okay,
so
about
20% of Black women, which is equal to only white women, and a higher rate than Hispanic women, have had no partners in the past year.
No partners in the last year. Okay.
Just over 50%, just under 55% of Black women, which is the majority of all women, have had one partner in the past year. As far as two partners, Black women are the least likely to have had 2 or more partners in the past year. This went up to 2 to 4 more partners. Black women were the least promiscuous when compared to single Hispanic women and single white women. They also did stats for married Black women as well, and promiscuity within marriage. I won't go into that now, but that's the data on it. When compared to Black men, just let me take a look at that data. When compared to Black men, Black women are almost twice as likely to have less sexual partners of Black men of their equivalent percentile group. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm trying to understand the percentile group. Can you explain that?
When we look at the lifetime, so we looked at the first time just within the past year. When we look at lifetime promiscuity rates, and I'm happy to share these graphs later if it comes up. When we look at lifetime promiscuity rates, Black women on the whole have had less than 10 partners. Almost twice as many Black women have had less than 10 partners as men. Across the board, Black women have less sexual partners than Black men. And I will cite all these studies as we get deeper into it that I'm quoting right now. They're all reputable studies. In fact, younger people are less likely, strangely, I know we think that this generation is more sexually active. They're actually 3 times Generation X less sexually active than the generations before them. They're actually starting to be more sexually responsible. So even the idea that people are heavily promiscuous, male and female, is incorrect. I think this rhetoric comes from the idea that Black woman is Jezebel. The Jim Crow Museum has an excellent archive that shows a lot of our history dealing with that and the idea that Black women are promiscuous, and from people engaging in too much media, which gives the impression of high promiscuity and not a realistic picture of what Black women are like in society and what Black men are like in society. So yes, we are less promiscuous than our men, and we are less promiscuous than other groups of women.
I'm sorry. Let me just read this again. There's a good percentage of Black women. Maybe I got this wrong, but I want to just read some of the stuff over. Lifetime promiscuity of most Black women is less than 10 partners. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Let me take a look at it again.
Okay. Sure. Or something to that effect. I mean, I won't.
Yes.
I won't hold you to that.
You can hold me to it. I have the graphs ready.
Okay. And then, so Black men. And let's go back to the percentile group. Would this percentile group have anything to do with like income and education and stuff like that?
No, it wasn't. The particular study that cites the lifetime sexual partners, it looked at a variety of things. Actually, some of the studies broke it down pretty well. They looked at religion. Actually, believe it or not, some high risk categories were ones that we would consider to be low risk. But they did, in some cases, not necessarily look at income, but they looked at like if they were married or not, if they had been divorced or not, if they were religious, what type of religion they were. They're pretty in-depth studies. The sample groups are pretty large, moving upwards of over 32,000 individuals in some sample groups. So these are significant studies. These are pretty valid studies. They're going to be hard to take down.
Mm-hmm. Irene, let me ask you this. If someone may know, like, want to know, like, where was this study performed?
Yes,
Okay.
there are various studies, and
Okay.
I will tell you where they all came from. So one is from the Department of Ethology and Social Biology. It was led by Dorothy Einan. And that is one study that shows that promiscuity rates in women are often skewed by the fact that some women are highly promiscuous, and then that makes the averages higher for the majority of women. The family studies, the Institute for Family Studies, did the lifetime sexual promiscuity rates of men and women. And that was, I don't think I have the doctor's name that let that off. Dr. P. Schmidt, PhD from Bradley University in Peoria. He did the study that shows that there are differences in sexual promiscuity between the sexes. So whilst women are open to casual sexual relationships, unlike men, they don't tend to go for quantity. They like quality when they're being promiscuous. So that is why they tend to sleep with less men, not because they don't desire sex, but because they're pickier about their sexual partners. They're more discerning about their sexual partners than men are on the whole. Obviously, there are always exceptions to the rule. The next study was done by Dr. Ryan Sherman. I'm sorry, Ryan, I think that's his name, but it's just spelled weird.
Mm-hmm.
Sherman, he's the assistant professor of social psychology at Florida Atlantic Institute, and Professor Brooke Wells of Widener University. This was published for the U.S. Journal of Sexual Behavior. This particular study took a sample group of 27,000 individuals.
Mm-hmm.
The next study was done by the Department of Social Affairs,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the study that dealt with promiscuity in the past year for various racial categories. The next study that I cited was done by the Department of Family Medicine at Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. That looked at the significance overall between Black and white sexual behavior. The next study was published. It was via the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. Amanda Sesko and Monica Biernat looked into the psychology of Black women, and it actually showed that part of the Black women might be the least promiscuous is because they're almost invisible in society. They did a study that showed that if a Black woman is in the room, she's often not seen. If she's speaking, she's often not heard, even if she's speaking in a group. And so simply because of Black women's position in society, they may, for that reason, also have lower sexual rates. So that study was pretty interesting.
Wait. The last study, I'm sorry, because can you talk about that again?
Yes. So this study looked at, it kind of is like the Invisible Woman study. It showed that Black women are often not seen or noticed.
Wait. Black women are not seen often?
Or noticed. So let's say
noticed, okay.
That's correct. Or even heard.
Or heard.
Okay. Yes. So for example, if a Black woman is sitting at a table during a discussion and makes a contribution, often her contribution will be overlooked or simply not acknowledged. If a Black woman is in a room and there are a variety of types of women there, the Black woman will often be overlooked. So they were looking at this phenomenon of essentially an invisible Black woman in society where we are often not noticed. This could have something to do with the lower promiscuity rates too, because if we are not being offered sex as more, and women are already more decisive about who they sleep with, even though they are open to casual sex, they're not as open as men are, where men might take whatever woman they approach that agrees. A woman may not take every single man that offers sex to her. So when we add these factors together, it could be contributing to the other studies that we looked at. And when we talk about the history of viewing the Black woman as a Jezebel, I looked at historical fact for that, and I pulled a lot of my resources from the Jim Crow Museum, who has an extensive archive of things that have shown how society has conditioned us to believe that Black women are more promiscuous, and so then our men are sort of feeding into what society has said about their women, which is that we are highly promiscuous creatures.
So, in other words, for the last part, I just want to make sure Irene, I gotta say you're one hell of a guest. Wow. Let me just make sure I can replay that in layman's terms, because I'm not as smart as you. So, because Black women have the stereotype kind of pushed that they are more sex promiscuous, kind of like quote unquote by the white man in society. Black men then believe that Black women are more promiscuous than they actually are, because the white man kind of held me back, kind of thing. I'm not, after saying in so many words, right?
Yes, and I think personal experience has something to do with that too. But you also have to look at where you are attempting to interact with women and what your intention is, as well.
Okay. This is going to be interesting, Irene. And guys, I'm gonna get to super chats in a minute. So thank you, brother Jason. I'll get there. The chat's moving really fast, so let me go ahead and get the slow mode in. Irene, let me ask you this. These are some studies that you have found, and you found some studies that are shocking a lot of people, and just say it in a nice way in the chat. But you had a hunch before any of these studies that you found. You believe this before these studies. Why did you believe it before looking at any of these studies? Why was that your belief in the first place?
My personal experience as a woman and my interactions with other women, and women are very candid in their discussions. And I had observed in my life that myself and other women I knew for a fact, one woman, for example, I know that both men and women are very uncomfortable with her and think she's highly promiscuous. And she had been in a monogamous relationship since she was 20 until like last year. She had had 2 sexual partners total in all of that time. And so I think that I noticed that women are discerning about who they slept with. That had been my world experience. And I knew that there were some promiscuous women as well, but that was not the whole of the women that I knew. So I assumed that to be the case. Just from my life experience, I was not surprised that was the case when I did the research on it.
You said that women are quite candid in their discussions. Let's talk about that. Why do you feel that women are so candid in their discussions?
I think women just like to talk. We talk a lot. If you've ever had a woman nag you, that's where that comes from. Women, we want to discuss everything. We want to discuss it in depth. We're big on asking for details. And so when women speak to each other, they do that too. Women also use each other. And I know a lot of men don't like this, so you guys can probably vouch for this is true, as sounding boards for their relationships. So because of that, women tend to share a lot more with each other. So in my interactions with other women, the women I know are not highly promiscuous. And so I felt that was probably true across the board, since I know a diverse group of women.
556 people watching right now. Do me a favor, if we can get 176 people to like the video, I will be very, very appreciative. I have a very important question to ask you. So help me get the likes up. I know you have a fair number of dislikes, but let me go ahead and take a time out to acknowledge those who have been super chatting on tonight's show. And this will go down probably as one of the better shows of the year. I'm pretty sure. And guys, Irene, for those of you who want to subscribe to her channel, it's in the description. Feel free. She's been getting some new people from this channel, and she she gives the hell of a show. I'll tell you that. James O, thank you for the super chat. 499. It's easy for women to lie in the study and say that they only slept with 3 people. Thank you, brother James O. Osman Muhammad. How can she explain the out of wedlock rates, STD rates, and abortion rate for Black women? Okay, we'll put that. I don't know if you have I'm pretty sure you have a comeback for that, Irene. Right? You probably was going to expect to get that question tonight, right?
Yes. As you noted, I cited studies that look at both the promiscuity in married and unmarried women. So I do have an answer for that.
Okay. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Jason Scott, thank you, brother. If women are so picky, how do the men get so many partners? Easy answer. The male-female population is disproportionate. Sex is a mutual decision. I think that's a really good question. Irene, we'll let you answer that also. If they're so picky, how do these men get so many partners? Irene, that's another question for you tonight. UCBX, women lie about how many sex partners they have, even on servers. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you again. James, whatever drug she is taking, I need some. Oh my God. TKFTW baby boy. Wait. I'm sorry. Nigga, what kind of name is this? TKFTW baby 25. Wow. LOL, self-reported or not. Thank you for the 99 super chat. Vegas MGTOW, Irene is the punching bag of the Black manosphere. This is going to be good. Irene loves to engage in the fuckery. Frito knows best. Gilbert Bird, chicks be giving head and getting smashed at the same damn time. That's, 2 for 1 if you ask me. Let's put this in the collection plate. Thank you so much, 49. Jarvis Logan, Irene is bad for this. Irene is bad for this for the Oshay Chicken Foundation. Thank you so much. LK $5 holler. K Zaggin, Oshay $2 for a shot of Henny. Got to bounce. Stay up, homie. So these were some people that are donating before the show even started. I really appreciate the support, brothers. Guys, get the likes up on the video. We're having a good time tonight. We're here with Irene, and she has it cooking over here tonight. 600 people already here. Get the likes up, Negroes. All right, let me talk to you about this. Irene, let's. You mentioned something that was very interesting. Women are more candid in their discussions.
With each other, yes.
With each other. Would that mean that women are less candid with men?
It's possible.
It's possible. You seem to be pretty numerate. So would you say that on average, women are less candid with men than they are with women? Is that right?
I would not say that. I would say that there's a type of woman who will outright lie and not be candid to men. Mm-hmm. There's a type of woman who will be open with men. The former type is the type that these men are probably sleeping with en masse. The latter type are the types that you should be looking for as your spouses.
Irene, so I'm trying to understand here. I mean, I'm not a bright guy, so help me understand. The word more means what?
Most women are candid with their partners. The women who are not are those women that are probably heavily promiscuous and sleeping around.
No, but what I'm dealing with is you say women are more candid with each other. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
more details and all that.
So that means, so let me just say this. So that means that there would be, it could be, since they're more candid with each other, we have to say that implies that they're less candid with men, because each other means that we must be comparing him indirectly to another group who's somebody else. I'm assuming that's men. So we could assume that with that statement, more candid with each other, that implies overall less candid with men. With that statement.
I would say that's somewhat fair, except for I would point out that men don't care for as many details often. They often prefer women to talk less. So I think a woman could be equally candid with a man as she is with a woman if the man wasn't looking for simply direct answers and wanted explanation and context. So I think that's what I mean by candid. They give explanation and context to their answers when they deal with other women, because that's a female expectation of conversation. That is not a male expectation of conversation.
So, okay, I'll let's assume I'll concede that for the sake of conversation. Somebody's going to have the question, hey, Irene, whether you believe why women are more candid or less candid, that's not the argument. The fact is, for whatever reason, women are more candid with one another. For whatever reason, we're not explaining why it is. So let's say, for example, hypothetically, you have a man. Now, although the study is organized by this person, you could have other people who are asking these questions. Supposing, assuming that some of these guys are men, is it possible that these women could not be as candid with the researcher as it would be with, let's say, a female? Could they be not telling the entire truth?
Well, could they not be telling the entire truth? Of course, Oshay, they could not be telling the entire truth. Remind you, in these studies, it wasn't just women who were interviewed for the studies. It was also men who were interviewed for the studies. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, when we're talking about promiscuity, we are completely dependent upon what people report. So if we're going to throw the studies out because they're self-reporting and simply go with how we feel, then this is a different kind of conversation. Okay. I can't help that the data shows information that makes people uncomfortable because it challenges their preconceived ideas and beliefs. Mm-hmm. But we're either going to go with the studies, because what is the motivation to lie in an anonymous study? Nobody's going to know what you've said. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have to assume the men and the women that were interviewed, because these were compare and contrast studies, were being forthcoming. Or we can just say, screw the data, and we'll all just go with however we feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me kind of go. let me ask a question then, based off the data. I think you said this a little bit earlier. You said that Black women are much less promiscuous than what Black men or other people want to give them credit for. So are you saying that really Black women are Black men really missing out on a lot of wifey material in the Black community? Would you say that?
I definitely would. I've said it many, many times, and I'll say it again. When you pick a woman simply based on your sexual attraction to her, mm-hmm. you cannot guarantee that's going to be a good woman. You can only guarantee that you're going to be sexually attracted to her. Mm-hmm. And so I find that men complain about women, but they've picked them the wrong way. And they've gone to the wrong place. They've led with their penises and their sexual desire and not their pragmatism. And so there are a whole sect of very good, obviously, Black women in the Black community, mm-hmm. but that's not who these men are picking. So our men need to find and pick those good women, if they're good men, right? Because all of the men aren't good, just like all of the women aren't good.
But they're more wifey material than what we assume. So let me ask you this. In the Black community, based off of this study, you can't prove it, but give me a percentage. What's the percentage of Black women that you think that are available? Because there's a lot of Black men out here, a lot of single guys might want to get married. Press 4 if you want to get married, guys. In the chat.
Know nobody's gonna press 4 in the manosphere.
Come on, guys. This is press 4. We're the nice side of the manosphere, guys. This is the Beverly Hills of the manosphere, you guys. We have cocker spaniels and shit over here. What's your percentage of Black women that you think that are available for marriage? If you would say, if we can start, let's do this. Let's say we start Irene's hook up and sandwich shop. That means like you can get a sandwich and you could get a hookup for a fucking partner. Okay. You're going to become Irene, the mating coach, right there on that couch. All right. You're going to charge $200 an hour for Skype consultations, and you're going to bring in them. I mean, obviously you're going to give me like 5%, but, Irene, tell us, for these guys who are looking for a wife, they're going to be coming getting these conversations from you, Irene. What's the percentage of the Black women that are available, that are ready to be married, that are wifey material, that are not promiscuous, that are not having sex, that are just waiting for these good Black men? What's their percentage?
So I actually have a study for that.
Oh my God.
Yes, there's a study that talks about the percentage of men and women that are highly promiscuous. So 5% of women are highly promiscuous. And I would say that there's probably about 20% of women, when we consider that 60% of Black women have been sexually molested as a child, I would say an additional 20% of women are not going to be good partners because they're going to have damage and baggage from abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that we're pulling out 30% of the marketplace. I think there's going to be a percentage of women who are feminists, who are homosexual, or whatever the case is.
Okay.
So I think we can pull out another 10% of the marketplace, right? So we pulled out 20, 30, 40% of the marketplace. I would say that 60% of women are available, but they're not all not in relationships. They're not all of dating age. Some of them could be older and things like that. Okay. So I would say it's fair to say that 45 to 50% of Black women are marriage material. And I would say, and I argue that that's on par with the number of Black men who are honestly marriage material.
Mm-hmm.
And that would also be the equivalent in the stats when we see how many marriages survive. We're seeing that split there too. So it's resonated even in the success rates for marriage.
Irene, let me ask you this. Would you say that is that a high number, or are you just being conservative with that number?
I think that I never am conservative with my numbers. I always estimate high. So, I estimated what I took out of the available pool high. What I will say is, if you're looking in the club, in the street, I know for me, I'm a homebody. I would say I'm marriage material. I spent pretty much my whole life being married. So I don't get out. I met I've been married twice, one at work and one through a mutual acquaintance for business. So I think that percentage of women, they're not running the street. So if you're just picking women up off the street and in the club, that's going to be part of that percentage of women that is not marriage material.
All right, guys, I'm gonna spread you super chat. Shout out my boy Rusty Balls in the building. Let me do this, guys. I'm gonna read out the super chats here in a minute. This is a hell of a show. I really have some more questions to ask, and obviously, do you have time? To talk to a panel tonight, Irene? Some people will talk to you directly, or?
Yeah, I have a little time.
Little time. All right, so let's do this. 682 people watching. All right, Irene has the mojo tonight on my channel. Get the likes up, guys. Do me a favor. I'm gonna ask one question. I'll go to the super chats. Hey, for you brothers that have been supporting, I really thank you guys. If you're new here, you want to support what we're doing, you can all hit the super chat and ask a question. That's a little $ under the chat. I'll definitely do that. Thank you, Brother Simon. I'm gonna read all of these here just in a minute. We have a really, really awesome show. It's a fun show, right? We're having fun here. This is good. The chat's moving. Irene, I want to kind of talk about this because a lot of absolutely nobody agrees with what you're talking about. That's clear in the chat. But somebody respectfully is going to say, "Hello, Irene. I understand what you're saying, but the deal is like when you talk about this idea that white men have made Black women seem like they're less sexually promiscuous, and that has influenced my mindset." Well, Irene, I've lived in the Black community. I've lived amongst Black people all my life. I'm not, my decision is not influenced by anyone else. I'm telling you from what I have observed, because I think that what you've talked about also is from your own experience. You talked about what you noticed from yourself and from other women and things like that. And, there are Black men in this chat that are from England. There are Black men in this chat that are from Africa. There are Black men in this chat from all corners of the United States. In fact, if you're a brother from wherever you're from, please put your state there so Irene will be able to know where you guys are coming from. Brother East, thank you so much. So, brothers, do me a favor. If you're from London or you're from England or if you're from wherever you're from, put your state in there so that way we can let Irene know that all of you are from, if you're your state, not your country, nigga, your state. This nigga put Europe, a continent. Get him out of here. Well, hold on, nigga. I told us, I said, I got your country, nigga. Europe is a continent. Negro. Okay. Sorry, let me do this real quick. Angola. Okay. North Carolina, Texas, Illinois, Minnesota, Chicago, Memphis, Georgia, Florida, the United Kingdom, Pennsylvania, Bama, Tennessee, New Hampshire, the Netherlands, the Bahamas, Illinois, Louisiana. So all of these people who are disagreeing with you are from different parts of the world, not just in America, but even in America, Ohio, Virginia, the Bronx, Maryland. They have their experience. Utah. How do you get niggas in Utah? Anyways, Wakanda. Get them out of here, you stupid bitch. I got a Wakanda for you. It's called timeout. So, what do you have to say about these guys that have a different, that from their experience, they see it different than you. They see that black women are very promiscuous.
Yeah. So this is what I would say. I would say two things. Number one, and this is probably going to be the more offensive of the two things.
Sure.
Your experience and the women you encounter is a direct reflection of you.
Wait. Say that again.
Your experience and the women you encounter are a direct reflection of you.
Let me write that down because that's a good one. Your experience in your encounters are a direct reflection of you. Let me ask you this, Irene. Let's say that these people are not participating in these things with these women, but yet they're observing these things. What would you say about that?
I would say most of the time that's not the case. That's what I would say.
So you would say that they're not telling the truth then?
I would say that if you approach male-female relations looking for sex, you find sexual women. If you approach male-female relationships looking for a wife, then you are more likely to find wife material. So you go and you gravitate to the women you want. There are a lot of guys I know that won't deal with me because I'm known for not putting out. So they're going to deal with the women that are more promiscuous. When I was introduced to my current husband, I was introduced by a mutual friend who's a professional on business. That's how we met. So he was in a space, and he's the type of man who marries women. And so what he met was wife material. So if you're looking for sex, you're gonna find hoes. Now, with that said, let's say you grew up, because this is true, right? Sometimes mothers are very promiscuous. So you will then be in an environment, and that was going to be the least offensive thing that I was going to say. It's possible your environment is one that breeds promiscuity. So that's a case too.
Hello?
No, that was pretty much it.
Let me do this. I want to kind of get back into this idea pretty soon, but let me do this. Let me shout out to some of the super chats here. 720 people live right now. Wow, what a hell of a show. Moses Jenkins, stop the show, hit the like button, brothers. Thank you so much. Eastwood, $20. I thank you. Black Mullet, 40. Yeah, let me hear you say find a good woman in church. Ooh, we'll talk about that.
There are actually a high number of promiscuous women in church. So
there what?
The studies showed, the ones that looked at religion said that women in church are like a high percentage of the very promiscuous women are actually from church. So that may not be the best place to look for a woman per se, unless you're in a very strict church.
Well, that's one thing they got right. Okay, Simon Landreth, a second sex partner on the part of the woman increases the divorce rate by a factor of 5, according to the studies. Wow, thanks again. Ex-Rico, a lot of women tend not to count bodies. They notch up on vacations. LOL. TKFTFTW, baby 25. These studies are self-reported, thus inherently inaccurate. To dismiss the possibility of lying because you wouldn't lie is irresponsible. Martin, Guy, lies. Black Adam, we can prove that black women have more kids than black men. Timothy Blewett, $10. Nana Welbeck, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Simon Landed, I stand corrected, Irene. I would have sworn black women were more promiscuous. Spook Freeman, false. Study after study confirms women have more sexual partners and are more promiscuous than men. In Black America, it's even worse. Facts over fantasy. My brother, Rusty Balls, one of my favorite YouTubers, man, check him out. Men should never believe that women generally have lower body counts. They'll be in for a rude awakening when they found out they have been out badass by that angel they fell in love with. Oh my God, freelance Ronin. 9 bums the wall, then 1 sucker simply clean it up equals 10 partners or less, not including the casual sex kept secret. James O, it's easy for a woman to lie on the study and say that they've only slept with 3 people. Osman Muhammad. Oh my God. So many people. Irene, guys, do me a favor. Here's the thing on my streams. I appreciate the love, right? But I like to see new brothers getting involved with the show. So to support, like the video, comment. Thank you, Ghost Saints 2345. That's a new brother. 59% of black mothers have multiple fertility partners. So I like to see some new people supporting the super chat, not the same ones all the time. You niggas got to come in here and get the likes up and give me all your money so I can get some strippers. Just joking. Thank you for your support, though. I love you, brothers. Keep the likes up. Let me ask you this, Irene. Tell us, where should we then? You're saying that we shouldn't go to church and get a good woman. Where can we find these low promiscuous black women that you've talked about in the study? Can you tell us where are we going to find these women at, Irene?
Well, first of all, I didn't say you shouldn't go to church. I just said if it's not a very strict church, I would say I have found a church where the women aren't allowed to wear pants, where there's a very strict hierarchy between male and female, where women are living in the homes with their fathers. Those churches are less and less common. I think those churches are good churches to find wives. But overall, you know, churches are kind of like a party right now. So most churches aren't a good place to find wives. With that said, I would say that, again, these women aren't on the streets. The women I know aren't running the street. You know, they go out to go shopping. They go out for their family. They go out for work. They go home. They're not at clubs. They're doing sedate things. And so these are women that you're going to be introduced to. These aren't let me go out and find a woman women. These are I've been introduced to this woman. We have mutual acquaintances. She has a reputation that is known. These are those kind of women. You're not going to go picking them up on the street. These are the women who will likely not accept your overture if you try to approach her on the street. So that's why I said what you're picking up is what you're seeking, because a woman that carries herself a certain way is not going to be responsive to you just randomly hitting on her. You're going to have to be introduced. She's going to probably get to know you for a while or be in the same space with you for a while. Those are the types of women that you're looking for.
I'll tell you what, also, we have some more time in the lead off here. I want some women to come on in that if you actually believe what Irene is talking about, we're going to do a little bit something different tonight. We're going to let some of you women come on. Some of you women who are listening tonight, if you want to come on the show tonight and defend Irene's talking points, we'll open it up. So we'll bring some women on tonight who feel exactly like Irene does. Irene, let's get back to black men, okay?
Okay.
There's like 42% of black men don't have any children. Black women have more children than most black men do. A lot of guys will say, especially when it comes to black women, because they're so quote unquote highly selective, a lot of guys are not even having sex because, you know, a lot of guys, you know, with black women, right? I would say, this is what I would say. It's much harder to get black women to, especially if the attractive ones. Now, obviously, somebody's fucking the ducks too, but, you know, black women tend to be more selective based on looks, based off of status, based off of other things than I think white women and Asian women. Would you agree on that?
In comparison to their counterparts in other groups, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know that I would agree with that per se.
Okay.
Maybe than white women, only because white women are more universally across the board considered attractive, whether they're ugly or not. So they probably feel they have to be more less selective. So okay. Possibly.
Okay, well then if assuming that, you know, most black people marry one another, are in relationships with one another, and if black women are more selective with their bodies, then how are these guys getting more sex partners if black women are not really fucking a lot of people? Who are black men fucking then?
This is so funny, right? Because there's this whole sect of guys who says they are getting friend zoned and used, which means they're not getting sex.
Okay.
And then there's this whole sect of guys that claim they're getting a whole lot of sex. So again, we're either going to go with the statistics or we're just going to go with how everybody feels in their spirit. Okay. So this is what I will say. I will say that men who are looking for sex or looking for someone who is easy know the prototype, right? And they approach women of that prototype because that's what they're looking for. And so you do get black women who have children by multiple men and have multiple kids and things like that. There's a sect for that, right? Okay. And this is not to say every black woman of that who is in that situation is sleeping around. It's just to say that there is a group of women that this applies to. And to the same quotient, I would say that that is where we're seeing, and that is what the studies are showing. They're showing that there's a 5%, there's a top 5 percentile, and then there's a top 1 percentile that's topping 50 people, 50 to over 100 sexual partners. And these people are having sex with each other. And then I also think overall, when we look at the promiscuity rates of men being double the women in the same percentage group, that men themselves are casting a wide net, and they tend to sleep with whatever responds to them in that they've cast, that they were able to catch. And so that's different from what women do, right? Women are offered sex a lot, but men can tell you themselves, because these are the same men that'll say women are the gatekeepers to the vagina, right? That women choose, right? It's funny how we change our argument depending on what we want to believe. That women are choosing to not engage a lot of the men that offer them sex. And I think that is the main difference that we have to look at between men and women. That's why when men, you guys know this is true, when you ask out 10 women, you don't get 10 women. There's a reason for that, because women are more selective. We know that these studies are true just from common sense and our real lives.
Okay. I might give you that. Okay. So men ask out more women and they don't get as many dates. All right. How on how many? I mean, on the percentage, a guy goes up to 10 attractive women. How many dates is he going to get, do you think?
I don't know. You guys tell me, because I know that men have to play the numbers.
Okay.
Because you guys get turned down most of the time. That's what men have told me. So I find it baffling that men don't think women are selective when that's your life experience, is that women are selective.
Well, that's a strong point. So I'll tell you what. Let's do this, guys. So let's do. I mean, that's a fair point. Give me a percentage. I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, I agree with that to a certain degree. That's all right. So, guys, in the chat, tell me, you approach 10 chicks, 10 hot chicks. How many dates are you getting? So give me percentages. 0 to 100. All right. How many? And they gotta be good looking. All right. Good looking women. And I'm not talking about phone numbers. I'm not talking about phone numbers. I mean actual dates that she doesn't flake. With the lone black man, 6%. What out of 10? Wait. Time all the niggas who put 35, 42, get them out of here. This is out of 10. Anything divided by 10 cannot have 35 or 42. Get them out of here. Okay, somebody says 70%. So you get...
That's a liar. He's lying.
20%, 10%. I see 0, 43%. Get your 40. Time his ass out. Keith Brower, get him out of here. Demetrius, 1%. What is 1 divided by? Get him out of here. You innumerate motherfuckers. 5%. No. Some of y'all need to go back. It's out of 10, y'all. So 40. Okay. 10, 15%. Okay. All right. 41% is not. Get him out of here. Whoever didn't put nothing in the 10s, get him out of here. Time them all out. Get them out of here. Non-counting ass niggas. Okay. So then obviously going on dates, then that's going to be cut in half for sex. All right. Okay. All right. That's a strong point. Strong point. I'll give you that. So, Irene, let's talk about. So, what you're saying is then these men are just who are fucking. They're just going to basically banging the same chicks. So
I'm saying that promiscuous people are sleeping with each other. That's why I said you attract what you are. You know, if you're going out for sex, you're going to meet people of the same ilk. And so that's what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. So hoes deal with hoes.
There's that old saying, right? Birds of a feather flock together, and that goes for your female counterpart. You're gravitating towards your female counterpart. You gravitate toward what you're looking for, and they gravitate toward you. So you're getting what you are. It's crazy to me when highly promiscuous men talk about there being no good women. Well, you're not after good women. You're after women that will have sex with you. I think there's a YouTuber, I hope to interview him one day, Alpha Male Strategies, and he says that in one of his videos. He says, if I can't get sex by this time, I dismiss that woman. That's not what he's looking for. He's looking for the women who he can have sex with, and those are going to be the promiscuous women. And I think men know this, and that's why I don't know why we're having this conversation. Like, you know, we don't understand how things work. Like, we're all adults here. And I also think it's funny that you want to knock studies that are self-reporting, but then you guys are accepting of each other's answers in the chat. That's self-reporting. So that's why I said we're either going to go with self-reporting statistics or we're going to go with how we feel in our heart. And then that means that there's nothing I can say or any data I could produce from a reputable place that anybody will believe because they've decided to just believe whatever they want to believe.
No, shout out to Alpha Male Strategies. He's been here before a few times on this channel. So Irene, let me just kind of get back to this. Let's deal with these. You know, a lot of men are talking about, you know, dealing with other races of women because these women are more feminine and less slutty. So, can you tell me how did Asian women perform in comparisons to Black women? And how did
they weren't included. I think only significant populations were included, and there's a smaller Asian population. So just Black, Hispanic, and white women were part of these studies.
Did they tell you how many people in these studies?
Yes. For all of, I would have to look at each study individually, but for all of the studies I picked, like I said earlier, the sample groups were significant. So we're looking at 20 to 40,000 group sample sizes. So that's very significant for these type of studies.
Okay. Well, let me say this, guys. Hey, thanks for some of the people here. If you want to get my attention, never hit the @ symbol on my name. I know there's somebody that's got time that I appreciate the support, but it's a no-no on this channel if you do that. That's what the super chat is for. All right. So thank you, brother, for the support. But if you @ my name, the moderators will time you out. Okay. So Asian women would not be in the study. Let's do this. Asian population in America, and you do. Right. So, the Asian population in America would be because,
and also consider that Asian women rarely date outside of their group, and when they do, they typically go with white men. So if they're a small population that rarely dates outside, when they do, they go with white men, and an even smaller, minuscule population go with Black men. So I think when we're talking insignificant statistics at that point, but these studies don't specifically include that group of women.
Yeah, but still, though, that I mean, if you think about Asia, that covers China, Korea, the Philippines,
India,
Arab, India, Pakistan. I wonder. That's a huge. I mean, that's at least 30 million people in the United States. So how was this? I mean, because the thing about it is, do women have? I mean, promiscuity doesn't matter who they're sleeping with, right? It just matters because they don't have to be fucking niggas at all. But who are they sleeping with? And it alarms me that they were left out of this study.
It doesn't alarm me because if we're looking at 30 million people out of several hundred million, it is an insignificant, and it's probably also, it could be difficult to get a sample from that, right, from that group. So I can understand, although I can't really speak to this wide variety of studies. One of them is a European study. So I can't speak to why they didn't include those groups of women. I'm just speaking to, just for me personally, I recognize just on the strength of it that that's a very small population of women in general. So I can see how they could be excluded.
Let me do this. Now I'll open it up here for a minute. I know there's Super Sly, and I'll tell you what. Which one of you people in the chat want to come on to the show? Just press 6. I'll bring you on the link. Especially if you're somebody I don't know, yeah, we'll get you on. Don't worry about anything. Let me go ahead into the super chats and shout you guys out. I really thank you for your support, and then we'll talk a little bit more with Irene, and then we'll open it up here very shortly. Somebody says Irene is full of shit. Oh, that was a comment from my other video. Antonio Gray, what she does not realize is that there are very few quality wifey women. Very few women that have no kids, educated, handle their money, and attractive. Pussy does not equal wifey. What would you say to that?
I would say that knowing how to handle money and being attractive and not having kids doesn't make somebody wife material either. A person cannot have kids, know how to handle money, and be attractive and be a complete bitch. So I think that your standards are very base. And I think as long as we approach this from a very base, remedial sort of perspective, you'll never find a good mate. What makes a person good wife material, and I have a whole video on this, is that she's teachable, is that she's submissive, is that she's transparent. It's qualities like those that make a woman good wife material. What you mentioned is very, very base. And so I think a lot of people function on a base level and expect superior results, and it just doesn't work that way in life.
So Tori Young, Tori, is that a woman? Okay, let me go this. And guys, thanks for all the support. Get the likes up on the video. Hey, 100 likes will take me to 432. And then you guys who are new, you can subscribe to Irene also in the chat. St. Everest, what about the friend zone and nice guys finish last? Thank you. I think you already answered that. Spook Freeman has a very interesting super chat. According to the CDC, not only do black women have the highest STD rate, but it is double that of the men. Black women are more so how do you explain that black women have, in comparisons to all these other groups of women, they have higher STD rates, they have higher out of wedlock birth weights, they have all of these rates that point to promiscuity in comparisons to these other women at the end of the day? How do you thank you, brother Dwayne 287, how do you explain that?
I'm going to tell you, the universe works in amazing ways, because when I was doing this research, I actually came upon CDC data on the sexually transmitted disease rates in the Black community. And the fact is that Black men are second only behind gay men in general, the gay population, in having the highest sexually transmitted disease rates. And most Black women get STDs from heterosexual relations. Because our men are highly diseased, behind only homosexual men, our women are highly diseased in comparison to other women. And that's just facts.
So let me also ask you this. Do you think that there's a correlation with these gay black men who have the highest disease and the black male population that has a high disease? Do you think that there's some overlap between the gay black guys and the quote unquote heterosexual black guys that are infecting the African American women? Do you think that that's what's happening? That's some of that part of that's happening.
I think that's absolutely a possibility. Absolutely.
Absolutely. How much absolute would you give me a percentage of how absolute?
I can't say. With the way that homosexuality is being embraced by our community, whereas it wasn't before, and with there simultaneously being a level of stigma attached to it and people being dishonest, it's really hard to say how the disease train is going. So I would be scared. I would be scared to even attempt at a number for that. But men, you guys are men. You know, do you guys swing multiple ways? Would you take head from a highly passable transsexual? Like, you guys know better than I would.
So your theory is that black women have the highest STD rates because black men have the highest STD rates. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of black men who say that they're not gay, that are actually gay, that are passing this to black women. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. The statistics have shown that. A lot of gay black men are on the down low and they're bisexual. They're not strictly homosexual. And they don't tell their partners and they don't tell their community, and they do engage in heterosexual relationships. We also know that when we look at that CDC data, and I actually have it pulled up because I decided to save it for something on my channel. That's why I said it's funny how the universe works, that black women are getting these interactions through heterosexual relationships, and black women pair with black men more than any other group. So there's just no denying how the disease transfer is happening. Again, though, I can't speak to what percentage of black men are, obviously it's not going to be a huge percentage, right? Because the homosexual population isn't a huge part of the population. But we do know that this happens. And because our people also have an aversion to using condoms and things like that, there's a study that I actually looked at in my research for this that talked about that too, aversion to condom use, that also increases the risk. And like I said, highly promiscuous people are sleeping with each other. But the scary part is that there is a little bit of crossover to those who are not highly promiscuous. So a man or a woman can have a highly promiscuous partner. That's why some of these studies looked at marriages too, and promiscuity of married people. And then their promiscuity affects their partner. So obviously there are varying levels to why this is happening and why the disease rates are high. But no doubt it's from majority male-female interaction within the black community.
Let me say this, because you talked about condom usage. Irene, you went down the wrong street there, because you know who is the number one users of condoms according to the CDC out of any group of men in America? Who would that be? Yeah, look it up.
Can you run that by me again?
Yeah, okay, yeah. The number one group of men that lead in condom usage in the United States is indeed black men.
Wow, that's so interesting, because honestly, the study I just looked at today, let me look at it so that I don't quote it wrong. And I think it's a CDC study. Let me just, if I can find it. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. Okay, health disparities in HIV, AIDS, viral hepatitis, STDs, and TB in African Americans. Okay, this is CDC. And it actually says that, and this is the word that they use, not the word that I use, that there is a violent reaction by black men and women, both, to conversation of the use of condoms. So I don't know. The CDC seems to see something different in us. And there's another study I looked at too, when we were compared to other groups, and I have that one pulled up as well. We are less likely to engage in risky sexual behavior, anal sex, oral sex. A lot of you guys can probably say vouch for that about black women. Than the group we were compared to specifically, which was whites. However, we are more likely to not use condoms. So again, when we say highest condom use, and this is why I don't understand the conversation that we're having as a collective group, not you and I, Oshay, but as us as a collective in this virtual room. You guys say self-reporting doesn't matter when the woman is shown to be less promiscuous than basically every other group of women. But self-reporting is accurate when Black men say they use condoms all the time. That's what I'm saying. Like, what conversation do you people want to have? Do you want to have self-reported statistic conversation, or do you want to just cherry pick and choose what you feel is accurate? Why are you so committed to having a negative view of your women? That is what you really have to ask yourself, to the point where you have the cognitive dissonance to accept one self-reporting study, but refute another self-reporting study simply based on your feelings. I don't understand that. So maybe you guys can tell me in the chat why we're not having an honest conversation right now. That's what I want to understand.
I think that's an ad hominem, because you kind of talked around. But anyways, it's a pretty good trick. But anyways, so yeah, kind of know where to go. I know. So let's do this real quick. Let's take a little bit of a break. 873 people watching now. All right, and let's get the likes up here. Got a great guest. We see ABL is there. Irene, I say you're giving a hell of a show, by the way. Who is not subscribed to Irene? There's Faith Jones. Hey, Faith, would you like to come on too? She's a YouTuber. Irene's now she's coming in the chat. Do me a favor. I'm gonna shout out the super chats. Spook Freeman's going crazy. Oh my god. So get the likes up. Do me a favor. Super Sly 75. You coming on? Where's Super Sly at? Where's the Great Black Shark? It's like the Sunday Rumble on a Wednesday. This is crazy. So I need 126 people to like the video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the super chats, but I need 126 likes on the video. I really thank all of you guys. Okay, we got Super Sly. ABL is here. Do I got some of my Sunday Rumble guys here? I got George here. All right, listen. It's like Sunday Rumble on Wednesday. All right? Hey, it's nothing but a word. Nothing but the word over here. All right, I got my guys over here. We're going to set it off on a Wednesday night. All right, thanks for all support. And make sure you guys subscribe to Irene. I'll give you a shout out if you subscribe to Irene also. She's giving again, a hell of a fucking show tonight. The white man just held his foot on my super chats. Hold on. He's holding me back, as he always is. Irene, do you like gospel music?
Some of it, yeah.
Do you like... Where's George at? Is George is here? Where's George at? George is here. You ever heard of a song called "He Just Won't Stop Holding Me Back"? Never. No, you'll hear it pretty soon. Don't worry about it. Just remember that song, okay? The Negro Credit Community Choir Party. Let me go ahead and do this. Shout out to Antonio Gray, Michael Spivey, Big Dog. There are 2 times more black women that have STI than black men. I live in a high rise. I got a lot of girls. 80% success rate. Thank you for your high rise money, nigga. Thank you. Andrew Wilkins, women, especially black women, constantly getting gangbanged. There are more black women in the swinger lifestyle than men. Male bring more effects than more women. Andrew, see you there, player. Spook Freeman, he's going crazy. Super chat. Black men use condoms the most because they know black women are the most promiscuous. Look at this female CDC SC racial rates. My brother Chief Drino out of Australia. Great topic, Oshay. Time to some clarity. That's my brother right there. He's half African American, half Ghanaian, 100% nigga. SOBC, story of the black conservative Asians have a low level of promiscuity. That's why I married me an Asian woman. The whole shit. Haitian Fab 31. The look on her face. Michael Coleman, what's the name of the study? I need to name the link. Can you tell them the name of your study, Irene?
Which one? I gave them all. I'm not going to read them all again, but there were several studies.
Yeah. Just after the show, we'll send it to me. I'll put them in the.
So yeah, you're going to have to back it up.
Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is Irene will send them to me after the show. And shout out to K Zaggin 20. He's watching on the smart TV. Spook Freeman nonsense. 100% of black children are sired by 58% of black men. Black women are having sex with the same dudes. Wow.
This is so interesting, right? That this is being said. And I also want to comment to the super chat person that black women are the most promiscuous and gangbanging and all that. This is crazy to me. You guys have to really like look at reality and the things that come out of your mouth. When you watch pornography and the women that are most sexualized and do the most sex work are white, but you think your own women are like them. That is crazy to me. It's crazy to me that in front of your eyes, you see white women half naked everywhere. Almost every pornography thing out there is white women, and they're getting gangbanged and all that, but you think it's your women, even though we are the least represented in that group of women. So, I mean, you really, I wonder how much of this is, if you just don't like Black women, I think it's just more honest to say that, right? I just don't like them. I don't care if the evidence all says different. I don't care if that's not who's making all the porn. I don't care if that's who's half naked on every sign I saw driving to work this morning. I just don't like Black women. I think that's honest. Be honest. But if you're presented with something that challenges your hatred or dislike or misconceptions about your women, then why the vitriol? I don't understand that. I didn't perform these studies. This is not my fault. So you can accept the truth and still choose not to like Black women. You don't need a reason not to like somebody. You could just not like them on the strength that you don't like them. Be honest about that. You don't need excuses. All right. Let's make 2019 the year of no excuses, y'all.
2019, the year of no excuses. All right, let's do this here real quick. Get the likes up, guys. Let me do this real quick. The Romaine 71193. Well, the studies are self-reported, so of course someone could take their own self-report versus a random one. Antonio Gray, $10. Michael Spivey, 199. Big Dog, 33. There are 2 times more Black women that have. Oh, I already read that one already. Kingdom Minded 1121. Black women lead in abortion rates. How in the ham and eggs does that not equate promiscuity? Black women also lead in childbirth. That's from a Black woman herself. How do you explain that, Irene?
Black women don't lead in childbirth, actually. We are not even at replacement rate. We kill more of our babies than are born. So what do I say about abortion? I say that it is common for a Black woman to have up to 5 abortions. It is sick, and I think it's a problem in our community. And again, what do I say to that? What does it say for promiscuity? A woman can have one partner and that man not want kids. Men in the chat, how many of you have been with a woman and she's gotten an abortion and you're still in a relationship with her? I mean, again, let's have some honest conversations. I don't know why we can't do that here. Men, you know, and women, you know, if something has slipped up and your man or didn't want you to have a baby, or you didn't want to have his child, or men, you know that you've gotten a woman pregnant, some of you, right? And you've said, now is not the time, like, can you get this abortion? I'll pay for it. We know that this is happening because we kill more of our babies than are born. So, you know, if we're really going to have these conversations, let's have these conversations. It's not about promiscuity murdering your child. That's about you wanting to murder your child. A person who has one sexual partner will kill 2 or 3 of their babies if they don't want babies. So, you know, I think that's more honest. We can't say that those 2 things overlap. We can't necessarily say that. And we can look at the Planned Parenthood stats. I don't know if I need to pull that up or not, but they have some stats that talk about repeat individuals that come in for abortions. It's a sad fact. Some of our women are having their uteruses sewn shut by the time they want to have a child because they can't. So these are uncomfortable conversations, but maybe they're ones we need to have.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to shout out the super chats. I know the chat's moving fast. Guys, 77, and I'm pretty sure we have some people who are not subscribed to this channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, shout out. You're new here. Let me know. I'd like to talk to you. And if you're not, and if you are new here, welcome. Subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you hit the bell on subscribe to Irene Yvette too. Her channel's in the description. So guys, get the likes up real quick for those people. And also thank you for those people. I'm new. Thank you, Josh. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, if you're new, hit the bell on the channel. Good to see you, Josh. And I'll shout out the super chats here in a minute. Let me do this. Irene, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you agree that Black women who have kids, okay? Let's do this. You like math, don't you? What was your major in college?
I was a psychology major.
Okay. So you took like statistics. Did you go to school in California or did you go to school somewhere else?
I went to school somewhere else, and I was going out for microbiology. So psychology major. Yeah.
Yeah. I graduated with a biology degree, unfortunately. But let me talk to you about this. Okay. Let's do some math. You like math? I like math. You like math?
Sure, but you can do it all. I don't have a pen and paper.
Yeah, it's no problem. Don't worry. You're smart. You'll get this. We have Irene here on negromath.com. We have 3 groups: white women, black women, and Latino or Mexican women. Okay. Black women are less promiscuous on average than white women, but could be equal or the same as Mexican women. Which of these groups, let's assume all these women have children, which of these groups are more likely to have children by multiple fathers out of white women, black women, or Mexican women?
I don't know the real data on that. I would say black women because black women are married the least.
Okay. They're married the least. Irene, let me kind of get back to something you talked about a little bit earlier. What is the sexual promiscuity of women who are not married? How do those women compare?
Let me look.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm looking at a chart, percent of single women who had 0 to 4 or more partners of the opposite sex, so only straight women. Mm-hmm. As far as 0 partners, mm-hmm. Black women were the least to have 0 partners. As far as 1 partner, Black women were second to Hispanic women. When it got to higher promiscuity rates, however, Black women were the least likely to have more than 1 partner. So, and that's like in the past year, right? We're not looking at the lifetime stats because the lifetime stats are just men and women pitted against each other. So 2 or more partners, white women were actually Hispanic women, strangely, were the, no, white women were the most promiscuous, then Black, then Hispanic. 3 to 4 partners, white women kind of teetered at the higher part of that totem pole. And 4 or more partners, Black and white women were tied with the exception of Hispanic women. Hispanic women had the least promiscuity as far as 4 or more partners. So you could argue as the sexual partners get higher, Hispanic women are less likely to have more sexual partners. When it's somewhere between 0 and 2 partners, it's kind of leveled out between Black and white women. And when it comes to having 0 partners, white and Hispanic women are more likely to be chased at the rate of about 20%. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, if these women are just as least as promiscuous, how do we explain that they are more likely to have children by more and more partners? Because them being married would have no bearing on promiscuity.
Because we're looking at only single women stats right now. Well, we don't know who are having the kids. These stats don't tell us that. They just pit married of different races against non-married of different races as far as promiscuity goes. But again, if a woman is in a marriage and having children, then she's obviously going to have children with the same man. most of the time, right? If a woman is not in a marriage, let's say has a child, doesn't marry that individual, gets into another relationship a few years later, bears a child, but doesn't marry that individual, I think that's how you get multiple fathers with a woman, right? So I do think marriage and marriage rates do directly correlate to fatherhood in children, because these women live past when they create this life with that man. So for the rest of her life, she can potentially get pregnant. If she's not married to the man, obviously the next time she bears a child, it's going to be with somebody who's not going to be the father of the first child. So I think that marital stats do directly play into that.
Okay. Let me. Let's do this. 934 people watching. Get the likes up on the video. Super slide. Let's open it up. I think we have. Think you stated the case enough. Who's coming on tonight? 939. Okay, let's go ahead here. Oshay's nose is bigger than the tits of Irene. That was pretty good. Get him out of here. All right. So get the likes up, guys. Likes up. Okay. We'll open up the panel. Is ABL, are you coming on? Is ABL coming on tonight? I won't keep you up too late. Naima, not Naima, but shout out to Naima. Naima's been helping me get the thirst box cracking. ABL, you want a link? Gonna go ahead and bring on Super Sly, the shark. Is this the most people you've had watching at one time on your one-on-one interview, Irene?
No, because I think we topped 1,000 on one of them.
We did, me and you?
Yeah, one time when I was with you. I think it was maybe the first time.
Yeah,
I think the first time I was with you, we topped 1,000.
I am a pretty.
But the topic was controversial, so that's I think why.
I am a pretty great person, so that probably explains why.
Yeah, it's all you. All you.
Yeah. So let's do this. ABL, are you looking to come on? George, are you looking to come on? Who else is here? Where's Beatology at? Beatology wanted to get in. I saw Kevin Samuels here. I saw some other guys here. I saw Nick here. But I want to get some girls on here though. Where are the women at? Where are you women at? Where are you women that? I mean, because we get tired of seeing you saying Nick. Like, where are you women who actually believe that she is Oshay, black woman is God, bro? No way around that. Born free. You're the kind of nigga that needs to be on the show tonight. Evan Moore from California, but I live in 2 ethno states, North Dakota and Japan. I completely agree with Miss Yvette. Wow. That's interesting. Shout out to brother Yvette. Mika B. Like, where are you people? Where are you women that actually believe that she's what she's saying? Hey, here's your chance. You want to be heard by a lot of people. Tonight's your night. Where are you women at? I guess you don't want to be on the show. All right. Let's see. Where's Sly at? Sly, I sent you the link here. Where's ABL? Don't see ABL anywhere. Maybe he's afraid like he was last week. All right. Well, get D-Fox. No, D-Foxy will not be on the same panel as Super Sly tonight. You go on, Negro. All right. So let me do this. ABL said he can't roll. All right. Let's bring on Super Sly, and then as Super Sly's coming on, no link. I invited you. Okay, hold on 1 second. Virtuous One. You want to come on?
Oh, let Virtuous One on.
Who is that? I don't know that person. You know her?
I do. Let her on.
Virtuous One, put your email in the description. Oh, ABL. Yeah, ABL does have a shows on Wednesday. That's true. Shout out to ABL. He's over there in the Negro-European Union. If black women freely kill their children, is it a far stretch to believe that sloppy women will lie about taking random dick? Damn. This is a woman. Thank you so much for the support. All right, I sent Super Sly the link. Let's see what we get here, Irene. Oh my God. Now, guys, get the likes up and subscribe to Irene. If you subscribe to Irene, I will acknowledge you. New people, Let me go shout out to some of the people here real quick. All right, Naima wants to come on. Oh my god. How do you still have an AT&T email? What the hell? That died with Jesus.
I know someone who has an AOL email.
Yeah, to lock their ass up right now. Naima Buckner. Okay. Y'all don't send her no dick pictures or anything. That'll be pretty nasty. All right, hold on a second. Let me do that. Is Sly here? Okay. That is him. All right, let me do this. Super Sly, how you doing tonight?
My bad, bro. I'm white man is he on me. He on me.
Is he holding you back?
He's trying to.
He just won't stop, brother. He just won't stop.
Never stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Super Sly, my favorite
Ridwan, here's my email. Ridwan@AOL.com.
Irene, you don't mean that. Quit playing.
You are my favorite person ever. I love you.
Please tell me why. Please tell me why.
Because I live for your wardrobe. Like, I live for it. It's so controversial. I think you're good deep down. I told somebody, I said, I love that I've seen, is that your baby in the photo?
Yeah.
That's how I know you're a good person. Like, I don't care what comes out of your mouth. I can just tell that you are a good person.
It's not going to work, Irene. I'm on to you.
It was that one show he called you did you call her a ghetto gagner?
I'm being honest. You can still come for me, but I'm being honest.
It's all good. It's all good.
Right. All right. So let me do this. Shark, what did you think about what she was talking about today on her lead off?
I want some of the fairy dust that she's snorting, because nobody, and I mean nobody, can really believe it's not even a stereotype at this point. Like, it's just common knowledge. And then the stats she was quoting. Okay, so you're gonna take someone's their honesty and in a survey versus what the CDC stats reports. Because if I look at the CDC, I'm looking at disease, abortions, pregnancy. Those numbers give you the results of sexual actions, mating choices, sexual behaviors. I don't care what someone says yes or no to in a survey. Those numbers tell me something totally different as opposed to what those studies shown. It's like night and day. So somebody's right or somebody's wrong.
Okay. Naima, I sent the link there. Okay. Who else is here? I saw Kevin Samuels here. I see Nick. I see AM1. I see some people. Tunde. I see Tunde Umana. Mika B. All right. She's saying that okay, super sorry. 40-50% of black women are marriage material. What's your take on that?
Where? Country.
Oh shit, my dude is here. Y'all, hold on. Let me make sure I make him a moderator so y'all time out. Go. Let me do this real quick. Shout out to my man Pump Chasers, Chris motherfucking Jones. That is my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I love his channel, man. That's my boy right there, man. I had to make him a moderator so y'all won't time him out. So y'all already know, man. I fucks with Chris Jones, man. I got to get my Pump Chaser. I ordered it back home, but go subscribe to my man Pump Chasers. You know what I'm saying? He's hella funny. I fuck with his brother Brandon and shit. Shout out to Pump Chasers, man. You just had a baby and shit. Of course, Chris Jones is here, man. That's my nigga. What the fuck you talking about? So shout out to Chris Jones. But go ahead, Super Sorry. I had to shout out my boy real quick.
No, it's just damn, bro. I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, wifey material. Stop. No. And I've dealt with all types, from ratchet to professional to classy. Just men in general overall are not falling for the okie doke. They're exercising their options. They don't see it. Now, just because it worked for Irene does not mean it works for everybody else. Exceptions never make the rule. And if you're going by the fact that we have the lowest, marriage rates ever, that says something right there. So I don't see it. You'll never convince me of it. No offense to anybody, but no, you'll never see me. You'll never convince me of that.
Irene, what's wrong with what Sly is saying?
I'm sorry, I had to get some pie. What's wrong with what he's saying? Aren't you married?
Yes, I am.
There you go. That's what's wrong with it.
Wait, you said black, but no. Keyword. You said black women.
I'm gonna sit up here and tell people there's nobody for them to marry.
You said black women. My wife ain't black.
But my point is that you are married. No.
You said 50% of black women are marriage material.
Okay, so you're saying your marriage doesn't count because your wife's not black. Okay, that's fair. This is what I will say to that. You mentioned different types of women. Again, I think we should dispense with the base qualities because you're like, professional women, this kind of woman, that kind of woman. A good woman to marry is not about her income bracket, her education, her physical appearance, or anything like that. It's that she has qualities, and I have a video on this, but the top 3 of those qualities would be transparency, teachable, and submissive, right? Especially teachable. So as far as what men are coming across, you being married, I know that you were saying you guys have like an open marriage. So when you deal with women, you're not looking for that. You know what I mean? You're not looking for that kind of woman to marry. You're looking for somebody to engage with because you already have your wife. So I would say that your experience goes back to what I was saying is we receive what we're looking for, right? The energy we are putting out there, that's what we're going to attract. So, just like negativity breeds negativity, promiscuity breeds promiscuity, right? Somebody who's not serious about a relationship is going to pull people who are not serious about relationships. So I think we need to be looking at ourselves and judge how our personal experience is affected by our mentality and what we're truly seeking. Again, if you are meeting these women on the street, most women I know of quality won't talk to a man that approaches her on the street. She doesn't know who you are. You could be anybody. Anything that comes out of your mouth could be anything. Quality women typically are introduced to their future husbands. And so I just would say that most of you, your whole approach is backward because no good woman is really going to fall for that. And if you got a good woman approaching her like that, you were very lucky because most of you can say that the women you approach are probably no good. I'm sure a lot of you wouldn't disagree with that. And so that's what I would have to say to that is you're getting what you're looking for.
Okay, it's super sorry. Are you approaching? I mean, not you, but are black men approaching hoes just to fuck?
Okay, before I answer that, let me retort to Irene's point. The 2 biggest things that black men complain about when it comes to the women, to the sisters, is lack of submissiveness and the physical appearance. So 2 out of the 3 things you mentioned, the women don't even exhibit or don't even have or are not even exhibiting those qualities to even begin to attract a future husband. So you have until they acknowledge at least 2 of those 3 issues, you're not going to convince men that the marriage is worth it. Especially if in this day and age when the first thing she opens her mouth with is how educated she is. Guess what? Men don't care. Okay, they don't care. And we're not the most judgmental of men, but you can't be a mud duck. And if you are a mud duck, you should be the nicest mud duck on the fucking planet. You should be so agreeable and just so nice. A guy's willing to overlook your physical appearance for the most part if you are a very agreeable woman. Because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen married couples for years. And the woman is not the prettiest thing in the world, but she does something right for him. She adheres to him. So until you acknowledge 2 of those 3 issues that's sorely lacking when it comes for what men are looking for in a wife, you're going to continue to have these issues. Now, as far as men approaching hoes, listen, hoes make it be known that they're hoes. You ain't got to approach a hoe these days. No, nowadays they're coming to you. Nowadays they're like, well, I know you got a woman and all. I don't care. I mean, it's cool. We can keep it on the side. So nowadays the men don't even have to put in the work to get it or get a woman or get ass, whatever their motive is at this time, you know. So those are my points.
Yeah, I just don't see. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really eating pie. I just don't see how that could be true. And it also be true that you have all these men complaining about being used by women, not getting sex from women, being friend zoned by women. Like, all things can't be true. Either men don't have to try and women are throwing themselves at men, or there are men who are being used by women, friend zoned by women, and not getting sex. So that's why I said there is a middle ground somewhere, right? There's a middle ground, and that's where most sensible people live. Most women aren't throwing themselves at men, or this would be a whole different conversation. When I look at the chat, most of you men aren't looking for wives, but then you're talking about you don't come across wife material. Why would you come across wife material anyway if you're not looking for a wife? You come across where you're at, and where you're at is just wanting to sleep around. And so that's the type of woman that you are gravitating to, because that's what you want. And that's the kind of woman you're coming across. And I don't see why it is so difficult to comprehend that. And again, if women are throwing sex out like that, then what is MGTOW upset about? Do you know what I'm saying? What are all of these men that are talking about they've been used by a woman and friend zoned upset about? Like, again, it all can't be true. It all can't be true. Something's going to be true and something's not. Women are either giving out vagina like candy, or they're friend zoning and using men for money and not giving them any vagina. Like, which one is it going to be?
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I can tell you without a question, women are throwing it out like it's on sale. I've never seen in the last 5 years so much thirst from the women. Now, regardless of what her intentions is, if the guy she sees he has money or he has status or power, these women are giving it away. Now, what you're hearing with these other dudes, these MGTOW dudes, I don't know what their problem is. And to me, honestly, they seem like a very small minority of men that can't just get with the type of woman that they desire. I can't speak on that. And I've been friend zoned, I've been curved, I've been told I've been too short. But guess what? I'm still gonna be looking for the next 6-foot Slavic chick or the next 6-foot Amazon. That doesn't stop me. So I don't know what these other dudes' excuses are, but listen, it's a pussy fire sale out here. It's a plethora. And I don't understand how any man is an incel. It makes no sense to me. It's too free. It's too much out here. It's just too much. Too much. It's too buku. Too buku.
Go ahead, Irene.
Oh, well, I would just say, could we at least meet on the clearly your experience isn't every man's experience, because some men are telling a different story. So it's not universally happening. You know, I know that there are some very wealthy men and celebrities, people are throwing vagina at them too, but you know what? That's not every man's experience, right? Some men may have that experience because there's something extraordinarily different about them. But can we at least agree that that's not going to be the average man's experience?
No, because the average man, even a guy that makes 30 grand a year, I'm sure he has a side chick somewhere.
Right, but you saw in the comment when they were talking about their percentages when they approached 10 women earlier, the average guy isn't having vagina thrown at him. That's not what's happening. That's not even what they're reporting here in this virtual room.
Out of 10?
Yeah. Out of 10, just getting a date, not even getting sex. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
But then again, remember, you are coming from the perspective of you are just trying to sleep with a woman if you engage her because you have a wife. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, the experience could be different because of what is desired from the situation, right? You're only
even before I hear you, but even before I got married, I still didn't have an issue. I never had an issue. Now, maybe I guess I'm one of them super select, you know, listen, I'm only 5'5", so I can't be the only one out here knocking down a plethora of ass. I can't be. I ain't the prettiest dude. I don't make the most amount of money. So what is it I'm doing that these guys can't do or are not doing? Because I'm below the stats on everything when it comes to the average male. So I can't, it's hard for me to subscribe to that. That's like you know, when handicapped people do things that a regular person can do. So what's the excuse? If a handicapped person can do it, you can do it too. But then you also have to explain what the hypergamy. Why is hypergamy the way it is, the way it's been like for the last decade or so? So explain that.
Let me do this real quick. So we have Tony here, Kevin Samuels here. Tony, it seems like you had like a little bit of noise in the background, so I muted you here. But Tony, you heard what Irene had to say. We're going to go to you first, and then go to Kevin Samuels. What do you have to say about this?
It is always good to use statistics. I'm not opposed to statistics.
Tony, where are you at? Because there's a lot of noise in the background.
I don't have anything on. I don't know what that is.
Okay, let me do this. Log off and come back because the white man is holding you. It's a lot of sound in the background. Can you do that? Just click off and come back on. Okay.
All right.
The white man held the sound back. Kevin, thanks for coming on, man. You've been listening to this. What do you have to say? What do you have to say about that?
Well, you know, this notion that the numbers are wrong and that Black women don't have such a high body count. I mean, I wish Alan Roger Curry was on too, because I co-sign a lot of stuff he's talking about. Look, Irene, I don't know what it is why you're even debating this point. When men are telling you their lived experience, and it's almost as much as like you talking about what is our mode, what is our thing against our women? What is your thing against your men telling you their lived experience? And when you sit here and talk about 50% of Black women are marriageable, I did a show the other night talking about does beauty still matter, and you got 80% of Black women who are fat or obese, 60% obese. We had a 23% marriage rate. They're out here getting it in with a smaller portion of guys. And no matter how you slice it, the numbers don't verify your case. But I do know that that's not going to change your mind. But I just want to know why it won't change your mind.
Oh, it's okay. So, again, as I said earlier, we can have this conversation two different ways, right? We can go on our personal experience and feelings, or we can go on the data. And before I came to this conversation, I went and I did the research. I'm telling you what the data says. If that is, not on par with people's personal experience, I've given my idea of why that could be. Mm-hmm. That if, we're sitting in a virtual room with men who are saying they have no desire to get married, then they are not dealing with women who are going to be marriage material, right? Because their desire is to have sex. So what they're going to encounter are women to have sex with. So that would be what I would believe. But like I said, I don't have a problem with people judging the world through their lens or even feeling the way that they do. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm just presenting the data that I found. I'm speaking to my personal experience, and I'm providing my view. Now, if everybody doesn't agree, so be it. You know what I mean?
Let me ask this question. So you basically put out there that, hey, you get back what you put out into the universe, right? So if you're out here looking to smash, you're going to attract lower caliber women. But if you're marriage minded, looking for marriage type women, you're going to get marriage type women who are loyal, faithful, and just good kind of chicks. I mean, did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So then how does that equate to the divorce rate? Because I know so many men who have want to get married and their wives actually left them and cheated on them, with other men. See, what you're basically saying is
and women.
And with women. So basically what you're saying is that Black men are had their minds right, they'd attract the right mind of women. Irene,
women. No, women too. Not just Black men, Black women too.
Okay, but you said if you have yourself, you attract the energy you put out. So why is it that Black men can put out, hey, I'm a good solid dude, I'm the salt of the earth, and I want to have a serious relationship, and those dudes get clowned, played on, and fucked over?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, are you finished? I apologize.
Well, I mean, it just seems to contradict what you just said.
Okay.
Does it not?
So I don't think so. And this goes back to something what I was saying earlier. First of all women are not good and all men are not good, right?
But if
So I
it's
think
my energy, okay,
Let her respond, and I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
I think that again, I said I find that people often have problems with the mate they picked because they picked their mate based on something. For women, for example, they picked a man that has money, but then they're miserable because he's not the nicest person. Men might pick a woman that they're sexually attracted to, and they lead with that, and then they find out she's not the best human being and not the best wife and mother. So I think it also is how we approach. If we take a base way of approaching, and also I think we have forgotten to vet our partner. That's why I said people who are marriage material, they're normally introduced. They normally are meeting in the workplace or through mutual acquaintances. There's normally a circle of people around them that can vouch for how they are. They're normally very transparent people. So there are things we're looking for other than income in men and physicality in women to make those things work. And you brought up the marriage stats. And I said, interestingly enough, when we remove the undesirables from the group, what we're seeing is that half of people are marriable. And that is pretty much going to the same thing we're seeing reflected in the divorce rates, which are half of those relationships are surviving. So it depends on, again, if we're going to have a constructive attitude about it or a deconstructive attitude about it. And I want to be very, very clear, because anybody that listens to me on panels or on my channel knows that I don't think this is a black male problem. I think that both men and women have accountability here, and we all have to do better and recognize that everybody in the dating pool is not material for a serious relationship. And unfortunately, we have to navigate around the people who aren't to find the people who are. It's not enough to be attracted to somebody or have chemistry with somebody or cool conversation with somebody. We cannot pick our partners that way and then act surprised when those relationships don't work out. And that's how I honestly feel.
Hello, can the panel hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, am I coming through distorted?
No, you sound a lot better this time.
Okay, the white man got his foot off my neck. Okay, in any event, we can always use statistics, but unfortunately, the problem that we sometimes have when we use statistics, we forget that there are usually more than one version of those statistics. Now, the statistics that you cited, I haven't had a chance to examine them yet. I don't have any reason to think you are lying or being dishonest. However, there are counter statistics that counter that narrative. The National Center for Health Statistics state that Black women are clearly the highest percentage of women with out of wedlock birth rates. That's single mothers. There is a journal, University of Nebraska Press publishes a journal of Black sexuality and relationships, which you have to actually pay for. You can't get it for free. And in that journal, it is very clear what they're trying to do is divorce the stigma of Black female sexuality from the history that you alluded to earlier. And even so doing, and even though it took a progressive tone, it still came out that said that Black women, now the journal gave the National Center for Health Statistics a 3% margin of error because they concluded that Black women constitute 74% of out of wedlock birth rates. They further concluded that 50% of that 70 some odd percent of Black women had an average of 2 children, and they were looking at the demographic anywhere between 18 and 29, and those 2 children by which they had, which was the average in that journal, that those 2 children were fathered by multiple people. So I would readily give you consent to the point that there's a smoking gun here, but there's also an accomplice. But we cannot be disingenuous and say that there's no crime here, because just because you may present statistics here, there are always statistics, that counter that narrative. And if I went by personal experience, we'd be here all night until the next day. But since you communicated that that is not the exchange that you wish to go by, I'm going to honor that. So I will give you your point that the Black woman has an accomplice, but she is nevertheless an accomplice. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, well, I'll say this. When I approach these conversations, I am not approaching these conversations to take a side, a Black woman or a Black man's side. I think that when we start having conversations like, well, the Black man this, well, the Black woman that, I think that's very counterproductive. We are two sides of the same coin. And so it's not for us to pit one side against the other. There's nothing negative about me coming up here and demonstrating statistics that say that you have more virtuous women in your community than we may realize. That's not a negative thing. And I fail to see how anybody could spin that negatively. Again, Black women are the least married group, and that's why we have the most families with children that are in single mother homes. That has nothing to do with promiscuity, right? A woman could bear a child with a man, be with him 2 years, he leave her. A couple years later, she bears a child with another man. Some people are serial monogamous, and we all live in the real world. So you've met people like that. They get in relationships, have a kid, long-term relationship, over 2 years. And then, they ultimately meet somebody else and have another kid. It's not like these women are literally like when you're in a marriage, having a kid every 12 months by a different father or every 16 months by a different father. That's not what we're seeing. There are normally some age gaps between kids with different fathers, indicating different relationships. So that's not necessarily indicative of heavy promiscuity. We can't necessarily draw that conclusion. We would need a study specifically studying that, right? But that's not something that we have in front of us. To me, I think what is most important, because, I look through the chat when other people are talking just to see, and I filter out a lot of the negativity because some people are just negative for no reason. I advise you not do that because you'll consume yourself. You're not going to hurt me. But I strongly suggest that we realize that nobody's an enemy here. Women are not the enemy and men are not the enemy. If you are a person that values a healthy relationship with somebody, there is somebody who is the same that is your counterpart on the male or female sphere. Is this going to be most of the people you encounter? No, it won't be, which is why we need to be pragmatic and selective. And if you are a person who wants to do nothing but have sex with a person of the opposite sex, and you think they're a hoe and good for nothing less than sleeping with, or you think they're only good for getting in their pockets, then you know what? There is a person for you too. I am just saying that the situation is not the way that it appears. And we don't have to make excuses about other groups in our community to not want to deal with them or to portray them in any sort of light. It's okay to present the full scope of the truth, which is, like you said, that Black women are often not married, that they have children out of wedlock. Those things are true. And also present the fact that they are also not highly promiscuous. Because again, two things are not indicative of each other. They're absolutely not. They can be exclusive. And like I said, maybe I'll look for a study if anybody has done one on that very thing. But we don't have that study in front of us to make that correlation. So we can't do that unless it's just our desire to do it.
Well, okay. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, with the statement you just made. When you said that there are no smoking guns per se, you can't blame one person or the other. The subject of this panel, it came as a result of a conversation which if I'm not mistaken was last night, was based upon whether women cheat more or get it in more than men. You took the reverse position. And so my point here is that this panel does point fingers, and your research, though you try to make it objective, it is actually in a passive way pointing a finger. So if we bring it back to the center, I will agree with you. There are no innocent people. There are no winners or losers. There are only survivors. But let's not be disingenuous and say, well, no, it's because of the men. No, it's not because of men. Everybody here is culpable. Not everybody may be guilty, but everybody is responsible, including Black women. Now, to your point about promiscuity and out of wedlock birth rate, the Journal of Black Sexuality and Relationships, of those women that were in that study, that comprised of that study, those women had actual sex. It's not like they were monks. It's not like they were in relationships. The abstract of the study also included women that were having sex with 3 or more partners at one time. The study also went on to conclude, or also went on to examine the use of contraceptives of those women involved in that study. Now, was it, I would argue to say that because it didn't include the men, the study was incomplete. But nevertheless, the birth rate was not exclusive of their promiscuity, because it was the women that were the most promiscuous that made up the study. So you can't necessarily say in this instance, under this study and under these statistics, that promiscuity and out of wedlock birth rate are mutually exclusive. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm sure that anybody on this panel would agree that for the most part, not in every case, but generally, where you have promiscuity, you have out of wedlock birth rate. That may not be the case, the totality of the case, but that is generally the case in most of the instances that we have with people having sex out of wedlock. It usually involves some type of promiscuous behavior. So we don't have to lie about that or be disingenuous about that. Now, is the black woman the lone culprit? No. But last night's conversation, last night's question was based upon whether she was. And you came back to defend that she wasn't. And you presented statistics that she wasn't. You just failed to look at statistics that show that she's an equal accomplice in the crime. That's my point.
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Wait. Let's get super science. Let's get to talk in a minute, and then y'all got to get off my channel about 10 minutes though, because it's 2:00. The white man's holding me back. Let's go ahead, super size. We got to get him in, and then we'll go to Kevin and somebody else. Go ahead, super size.
Okay, so the second.
Oh, that's a Blue Yeti, huh?
Yes, sir.
I hear you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. That coming like Barry White, huh?
Yeah. My Barry White on.
I hear you, boy. I go ahead on. Don't hurt nobody. All right.
The second definition of promiscuous is demonstrating or implying an undiscriminating or unselective approach, indiscriminate or casual. So you can apply that to thought patterns, choices, behaviors, not just sex. So if we take sex out of it, promiscuous mating choices basic are you see it in the households. The fact that you have no man or many children with different fathers. So it's not you only have to use the sex part of it. Just the indiscriminate approach or casual thinking selection of promiscuity pretty much null and voids the entire basis of the stats that Irene presented. That's how I see it.
Okay. Well, let's go to Kevin. Kevin, go ahead and jump in there.
I'm just going to go ahead and take the opposite position and say, I heard you say normally, how people meet normally and marry normally, and I'm just going to say, obviously, we live in 2 different realities. How people normally meet and do things in your normal world is not normal to me. And you saying, well, we cannot look at this. You have to look at the stats, and it's not necessarily what we think we see. No, it is what you think we see. This is one of the problems in Black America. We got to start telling the truth to Black women. We got to start being truthful between each other. We got to call fat. We got to call po. And if women are out here getting it in, they're getting it in. We're not crazy. You can have men sitting up on these panels talking about they done been with women who are size queens, and this woman's got a body count 2 or 3 times as a man, and this is not the minority. It is the norm. What you are saying is a fairy tale to most people's lived experience. It may be your norm, but it is not the norm today. So due respect to your stats, I mean, I have an engineering degree. You can play with numbers how you want to, but the bottom line, this all came up with saying that women have a higher body count than men. And I'm going to tell you anecdotally, of the women I have been with, they have high body counts. They don't have a higher body count than me. Well, a couple of them did, but most of them had extreme body counts. I actually sat there and counted body counts to my ex, and I was like, God damn, if you just do simple math, let's just be real. How long is a long-term relationship in Black America? If you're dating somebody 6 months and break it off, that considers to be okay. That means you can fuck up to 2 people a year. If you start having sex at 18 and you're 30, that's 24 people. How many you ask the average black woman? Oh, I've had sex with 2 or 3, 4. Bullshit. We done all been to college. We done all been to spring break. And now because you got married at a young age and did what you did and your religion and everything else, but these women are fucking. And if you attract what you are and what you put out, why aren't black women attracting husbands? Black men are married at a rate higher than black women. So if black women are so marriageable, why aren't they married? No matter how you slice it, we got to get real. And until we start really being honest, and we got to beat around the bush when we talk about black women's sexuality, black women's attitude, black women's way of being. And we don't like calling things out because, a lot of us raised by our black mothers, got black women. We have taught to deify black women. But look, just because you are a sexual being, Angry Man said we're animals, and yes, we are animals. When you can see the most prime, pristine, pedigreed pooch out there, she can come from the finest bloodlines. But when that bitch is in heat, she'll take a dick from any old dog. Same way with a lot of black women. And that's not saying, hey, that's not denigrating our women, talking bad about women. Black women are sexually liberated. They sit around talking about, you got to have an anaconda, girl. Sit around on channels talking about how much they want a big dick. Do you think they're joking? This may not be you, but it is a lot of black women.
Okay, and with that said, listen. You ain't got to go home. But all of y'all got to get the fuck out of here. Why? The white man has been holding me back today. And, I can't do, I can't do this every day. But we can do a part 2 to this, though, right? So I'll tell you what. Rumble Sunday, right? And then we have I have my call-in stuff. So I'll do that. I'm gonna shout out the super chats. But I got the Brother Pill tomorrow. I got some interesting shows. Again, Irene, hell of a fucking show tonight. Guys, subscribe to her. Go to her channel. Some of y'all gonna say you don't want to subscribe anyway. Great panel. Shout out to Super Side, did an excellent job on last week's show, last week's Rumble. Guys, we have the thirst box will be dropping in about 2 hours. Episode 14. All right, Kevin Samuels, have you seen the thirst box yet?
Oh yeah. Hilarious, man.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah, man, hilarious.
So yeah, I got to get my man Super Sly in the thirst box. Shout out to Tony Maceo. Okay, he writes every Tuesday. I'm gonna bring my man on. Tony Maceo is the genius of the Negro manosphere. I said he's the bar far. I mean, I'm not putting anybody down. He's the smartest person on the site. He's the professor. Okay, so I got to try to get him more involved on these panels and on these interviews. He's a fucking genius. All right, let me shout out some of the super chats here, guys. Thank you, but I gotta get out of here because it's 2:00 in the morning. Super chats. Irene is rather difficult to get pregnant. 50 to 80% pregnancies miscarry. CDC. Basically, we can correlate the presence of children with profound activity, promiscuity. AM1, if you're a man and you're not red pill or MGTOW, you're hardly a man. Be your own man, not a hashtag social clone. Great show me and him did last night. Chief Drino, back to work, family. Catch on later on. Beautiful guest. Love her voice. Is she married? I'm single. Chief Drino from Australia. Jason Scott again. Yeah, women are selective, but once they find what Rom will call a select man, then that's when they become promiscuous. That shows in statistics. Thank you, Brother Jason. Da835T. Great channel, fam. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the people, too. Robert C. Well, a lady or a gentleman are both an elite of their own. Not every one of them is meant to be elite. Finding a lady is difficult. Thank you, Brother Robster. A nail. I added 0 to any woman's body count. 3 equals 30. 30 equals 300. Shit. One Titans. People of West Africa descent have a strong resistance to malaria, but that resistance we have built up makes us more susceptible to HIV. I didn't know that. Kingdom Minded. If black women freely kill their she read it already. Timothy Blue, thank you. Antonio Gray. When I mentioned wifey material earlier, it was not inclusive, not exclusive. Obviously, more than what I stated requires wifey, but it's difficult to get past multiple babies, effed up money, etc. to find submissive, etc. Johnny says, I will be willing to I discuss. I agree with Irene. Mr. B, $1. Thank you so much. Andrew Wilkins, half black men out here have no kids. Starting at young ages, almost all black females we meet already have kids and are sleeping with other women. Justin Bass, thank you so much. Is black women the highest on the negative statistics that you putting out? TKFTW baby 25. Are women getting these 5 abortions on or can't 2 or 3? So sue Dominican Republic. Bros, get your travel on a date from Spanish women. Thank me later. What up, Oshay? By the way, she's pissed. Hey, bro, I got a thumbnail made for our show, bro. And Kevin Samuels, I emailed you like a week and a half ago about doing the show. But I don't know if you got it. Maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. Robert C. Well, I'm a church guy and I see how freaky black women are, especially the pastor's daughter. God is not through with them yet. Ashaboshaya.
You email me about the show?
Yeah, I did. I'll email you.
Email back. I sent you back. I said, yeah.
Oh, white man held my email response back. I travel the country. I see black women being promiscuous in every city by women desire. Stop acting like a white delusional chick. Antonio Gray, Michael Spivey again. Were the Romaine 71193? Well, the studies are self-reported, so of course someone would take their own self-report versus a random one. Big Dog 233. There are 2 times more black women than SCI black men. When I live in a high rise, I get a lot of okay. Thanks everybody, right? Awesome show, awesome panel. Guys, love you so much. Thanks to all the new people. I got some of you niggas missing. You work, you staying up late, you sleeping when you get to work because you fucking with me all night. Irene, thanks for coming on. All the rest of people, thanks for coming on. Irene, anything else you want to tell your new fans that you may be having or haters?
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys that there's no gender war. And when I come and I speak on any panel, if you listen to me for any amount of time, you know that I love men, I respect men, and when I speak, I'm not here to pit men against women. I don't respect that. I think that if you're a good person, you can find a good person. You just have to look because there's a lot of bad people out there.
All right. And Faith, I think Faith is a truck driver, female truck driver. Don't wreck that truck, boo. All right. Because, Christmas is coming. Got to get Christmas money. Guys, great show. See you, Super Slide, with that new Blue Yeti. How you like it so far?
I love it.
You can record some voiceover for the Thirst Box now.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Listen, guys. Great show. See you niggas later. Peace out.